Malaysia, you have my permission to go right ahead and download every single one of these videos and to repost them if for some reason I don't post for 2 weeks.
Or I don't communicate with you for any reason.
Why am I saying this? Well, I got threatened. If you're on this channel, you probably know that I talk about a lot of controversial things. What the Prime Minister is doing, what he's not doing, Israel, Hamas, Israel-Palestinian conflict, past peace push, and now the whole prisoner drama casually sweeping Malaysia as the entire Madani government is mute. Now, some people out there, they're not happy with that. That's why you get comments like, "Diam lah bangang, ini bukan hal engkau." Shut up, stop talking, it's none of your business.
And here the race and religion chauvinism come in.
Let the majority Malay Muslims do as they please. This way, the blessing will come to hardworking PM Anwar. What? You don't like it? Just move to US or China or Israel. Stop bullshitting. Remember the perlembagaan negara. If you really don't like this country, move out and keep your liberal thoughts in China. Truly incredible.
But
probably worse is the comments when you get
the actual threats.
People like Hashim Kassin who say, better watch your mouth.
Seems I'm very lucky with people named Hashim, by the way, who MCMC seem to be dealing with at the moment. And oh, and there was this guy. More on this later.
And there you go. Risks of the profession. Trouble from people who just don't like what you're saying, want you to be fearful, scared, terrified out of your mind so that you can be a good boy, typing on your keyboard, ignoring what's going on in this country.
Or migrating while they languish, which is always an option.
Of course, if you really think about it, social media is not a representation of reality. A lot of these people are just random internet commenters as well. Chances are they have lots of social and personal problems. But when you add up everything that comments like these do,
doesn't help that a lot of people don't really understand 3R laws either.
Then what you end up getting is a culture of fear. Of course, some people prefer that the only valid critic is a silenced critic, and that people have the right to go out there, tell critics to shut up, threaten them, dox them.
The Anil Raj case was interesting, by the way. I think he lives in Singapore and he should be deported. Singapore is a small place, so I hope you guys are safe out there.
Maintain this weird, toxic culture where somehow you think it's okay for you to cause fear to other people, when perhaps you are the one who's being the most toxic virus to our entire national discourse. It's actually ridiculous. See, the fact is that we live in a society, and in societies there are going to be different people. Different people, different opinions, different ways of thinking about the world. You're Malay Muslim, I acknowledge your existence. You're Indian and Hindu, happy belated Thai Pusam, I acknowledge your existence as well. But in exchange, acknowledge the fact that I am a Chinese, and I live in this society as well. As a member of that society, my opinions are therefore as valid as yours. You can't be going out there and yapping, "Oh, hormat perlembagaan," while imagining that somehow or another people need to listen to you, or that they will eventually agree with you just because you think that you're so smart.
You think you're of the right race and religion,
and nobody could ever question what you're saying.
And by the way, regardless of whether you understand the constitution or not.
But I think that this is a really, really unhealthy culture, one that needs to change right here and right now.
But having said that,
look guys, I'm not going to deny that in a place like Malaysia, there is a danger to what I'm doing here.
Not that it really matters because I'm not very cinta dunia.
It is walking a fine line because you're touching on sensitivities in a community that is used to walking on eggshells 24/7. For every single perspective that you have in this world, someone else is going to have a different perspective as well, and so many of us are so used to talking around one another that we create literal circuitous pathways around, and we threaten other people with the constitution or any number of other things out there just because we have no idea how to actually debate and discuss things with one another. And we have this toxic idea that the only good debate is a debate where one side wins and the other side loses. And that's where you get people acting as if they have the right to threaten other people because they're scared of your ideas. They don't dare to face up to what you're actually saying. Some people might actually dare to go ahead and take action
because they have not learned the law and how it can and should be enforced. There is a pretty robust variety of different laws to deal with sedition, with harmful speech, intimidation, whether criminal or otherwise, and the government has all the reason to actually enforce these, which it doesn't always, but, well, a little bit of pressure in the right places can always be helpful.
Tengok perlembagaan, mangkuk lah engkau. Since when did perlembagaan mean that you have a license to abandon all logic and then assert your point of view? I don't even know if any of these people have even talked to police officers before. Say whatever it is that they want without considering that maybe they should be threatened right back as well.
Incidentally,
I have lots of experience chatting with the PDRN in a whole bunch of different ways.
But,
in society, you should not be punished for a controversial opinion. You should be punished if you commit a crime. And if you say that what someone's saying is harmful speech, I could say right back to you that stopping issues from being discussed is also harmful speech, and you should also be punished for it.
Yet clearly, some people don't agree.
They think that questioning shouldn't be allowed because they're too afraid of how Malaysia could actually change as a society.
Sad for them then that the whole point of this content is to change society.
If you don't agree with what somebody is saying, then you have every right to walk away or just tune out, not to try to silence people with your half-rate mentality, thinking to yourself, oh, if what he says becomes popular, then it's going to become dangerous. And you keep on yapping, talking about how everyone else out there in society is the source of the problems. Dangerous to whom? For what reason? What if you're completely wrong and
You are the danger for suppressing independent thought.
disagreement is not subversion? Disagreement is something that you do if you actually care about how your country is doing. You have a brain and you're here to use it. That's what social media is for, baby. It's for you to share your opinions, not to end up in an echo chamber. And if you, as a citizen out there, think that what the government is doing is stupid, it is your duty to go out there and point it out. Fact is, this country and our government is an organization that is making decisions. Some of these decisions are going to be smart, some of these decisions are going to be stupid. But if you insist that we don't talk about things that we need to talk about, you are denying the role of civil society and thinking to yourself that somehow your mob rule is supposed to win over people who actually think about what they're saying and voice objections because they think about what they're saying. The Malaysian people are not stupid. If you don't point it out, or if you tell other people that they shouldn't be pointing out what they have noticed, we could accuse you of subversion. If you're on social media, you have to understand, right, that people will have different opinions from you and you need to learn how to accept that people will have a different opinion. If they're wrong, you think they're stupid, fine, whatever. Ignore them, it's none of your business. As long as nobody's slandering, you do not have the right to go out there and yap about what people can say or cannot say. If that's what you want to do, shut up and keep silent, or become a better debater and argue your point instead of making your stupid, pathetic threats. Because you're unable to convince people with your minds and the truth, and hence you decide to go out there, try to create a culture of fear instead of a culture of critical thinking and responsibility that should exist, but that you destroy with your own hands because you somehow think that anybody who doesn't ikut needs to be repelled.
But in case you don't believe any of that exists,
there's a very real attempt out there to make sure that everybody just ikut all the way because some people insist that everything go the same way that it always has, that they can't learn anything from anyone else because they are so arrogant, so absorbed in a universe of their own creation,
or a hikayat of someone else's creation where they are inevitably hang tuah.
and think that there could never be any consequences to them for what they choose to say, how they choose to abuse other people. I don't claim to be perfect. I could very well be a budak berhinggus or kid with bad grammar. But still, you're watching this channel because I say what I say without fear or favor. And that's why I'm saying that you have my permission. In the event that any of these people try anything funny, try to stop me from sharing this message, you have my permission to repost, reshare, to download, or otherwise. And that's not all I'm giving you permission for. I'm giving you permission
To fight back.
I know that some of you out there, you have your own situation. You don't want to be threatened by a bunch of people who speak in veiled terms telling you, oh, you jangan cakap banyak, oh, go back to your country.
But I know, there is a part of you that knows that this is your responsibility.
Who will do it if it's not you? And you constantly say somebody else is gonna do it. At some point, nobody's gonna be speaking up to speak truth to power. Not Victor Tan or anyone else. Malaysians, I want you to be brave. It is your job to take them to account. If they're being pricks, then go out there and tell them that they're being pricks. To stop hiding behind their pathetic keyboards and to actually face the world. And if they're going to come out with their threats, then they should fully be prepared to have not just legal action, but also societal action. I want you guys to normalize this. Any attempt from anyone to facilitate this kind of silencing of people across our country should have personal, professional, and individual consequences. We shouldn't be letting people who try to silence the debates, the exchange of information, and the actual contest of reason out there in our society.
And the government must play an important role.
It might seem a bit much of a request if you're literally criticizing the government and asking the government to discipline them, take them where the sun don't shine. But what I can say is, you have my permission
Not that you actually needed it in this case or in the last case either.
to go out there to take every single leader to account, to speak up on the wider scale that you never knew you could actually speak up on.
You also have YBs for a reason. You're not paying them more than 20k every single month with allowances for nothing. Get familiar with your YB, talk to your YB and make sure that they raise your issues in Parliament.
We as a civil society have to learn to be more resilient, to be able to deal more maturely with people like these, create a world where anytime these people try to hide anything or try to stop people from speaking up, there should be immeasurable personal damage to them and to any cause that they advocate for. Even as they learn that any of their attempts to try to silence people will only end up magnifying the ideas that they're trying to hide right now. And if you value my voice and you want to amplify it, make sure to get subscribed, get your friends to subscribe as well, and not just talk about these things on YouTube or in the comment sections, but in news media,
Not just English, by the way, to avoid echo chambers.
wherever it is that you go, whether the kopitiams, your workplace, or the mamak store when you're meeting with your friends. Thank you so much for watching Sepupus. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.